So we got a new
Having the
trailer. What did you guys think of it? Let's start with you, Script. What did you think of the new trailer?
It was all right. Pretty much spoils the movie. Nice new vistas of Etobicoke, made to look like Fawcett City. They, again, I mentioned this last night. Not a big fan of climactic scenes occurring in a football stadium. Just doesn't appeal to me. Feels kind of cheap. Lots of set pieces in a football stadium. But no, I like the stakes. I like the fact that Helen Mirren's character seems to want to take back the powers.
That's Midnight's Edge's very own Helen Mirren. Get it right.
Right. Take back her own power. Take back the powers from the Billy Batson and his family. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see that it has a little bit of stakes to it. So that'd be cool.
That sounds good. And Paul doesn't get that joke. See, what happened here was
I don't get the Helen Mirren joke.
We did a reunion for Blood In, Blood Out, a movie directed by Taylor Hackford.
Okay.
And Taylor Hackford happens to be married to Helen Mirren.
Oh.
So we're in the middle of the broadcast. You know, we've got all the cast up there. Taylor's talking and all this shit. A head keeps popping in behind Taylor. We're like, what the fuck is that? Taylor finally goes, somebody...
I was like,
it's Taylor finally goes, somebody here wants to talk to you guys. We're like, okay. So here she goes. She jumps on the street. She goes, hi, boys. How are you doing? I just wanted to say hello. It was like, holy shit, we got Helen Mirren on fucking Midnight's Edge.
Really? I'll have to check that out. Wow.
Yeah, it's in the Blood In, Blood Out reunion, which is under the Star Interviews.
You need to just clip that bit out, Andre.
Yeah, probably should.
That's
it
great.
was a lot of fun. It was surreal. It was very surreal. But yeah, so Paul, what did you think of the new Shazam trailer?
Well, it's kind of typical superhero now. There's nothing surprising. Tons of CGI. Some of it doesn't look really that good either. Although I think they changed the backing track music compared to the first trailer. And this trailer got amped up way more. Like it's been adjusted compared to the previous trailer. Yeah, they gave us some more stuff. They got Lucy Liu, and either she's gained weight or they stuffed her in a bigger costume. And Helen Mirren, I mean, it's fun. Yeah, I agree with Script that there's actually a nice reason for the antagonists to do their antagonizing. They want their power back. I think that's great. I'm not feeling the entire squad of Shazammers. They're feeling quite generic. It's way more fun if you've got Shazam and his sidekick just trying to figure stuff out on their own. Why we have to pollute it with a whole bunch of extra people that I don't understand. It looks way better than Black Adam. I'll say that. And the lead Levy I think looks like he didn't mail it in, at least the pieces from the trailer. I wasn't looking forward to seeing it after the first trailer. I am interested and intrigued now.
See, the one thing that you just reminded me of when you said the background music, yeah, they used Drake or Aubrey, whatever his name was, BS song about him starting from the bottom, and I'm like, that's not a good song for a trailer, especially when they try to epic it up. And
you're talking about the first trailer?
The one that came out
the
last
one we just
yesterday.
and they had a similar thing, I think, in the other one, but I think it was
I don't listen to lyrics.
I think it was Eminem in the other one.
Oh no, I know the history of the guy because like I have family members that were extras on Degrassi when his parents bought him his role on that show. And I'm like, yeah, you started from the bottom. BS.
But no, Script's right. If they're not using a classic rock song, they're using one of these kind of songs lately. Yeah, and you're right, Script. In the first one, I think it was the Eminem song, and this one, it was the.
It's Drake.
Yeah, I like the song. I mean, from a sonic perspective, I thought, wow, this is.
Oh, they remixed it to try and sound cool, but it's yeah.
Is it? You have an for Drake, don't you?
I don't. He's very inauthentic, And I also think he picked his name based off of a duck, but he's trying to say it's a dragon. I'm like, it's not. It means duck.
Okay.
I can't
You're-
picture
you're-
Script Doctor listening to rap music.
you're
That's
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
talking
whoa, whoa,
about-
whoa, whoa.
you're talking-
Script, say that one more time. What was it you said there about like Drake? Meaning which language?
I don't know, because that's the thing. Like he couldn't cite the language for it. I think he took it off of maybe a Wheel of Time book where a dragon was
Okay.
named Drake or something.
I can confirm that Drake, if you ignore the American spelling, if you pretend that's Swedish, drake, that's dragon in Swedish.
Drake, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not spelled the same, if my understanding.
Yes, it is. That's how it's
It
spelled.
is?
Drake. Drake.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Dragon in Swedish.
with
Then
with an
why is he called
umlaut
Drake?
over the K.
No. It's just standard. Exact. Drake. No dots or anything like that.
You can't
Just
have
Drake word
dots over
that actually
consonants.
does mean dragon in Swedish.
Drake.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he
drake.
doesn't say it that way. He calls himself Drake. Drake is definitively a duck.
A male duck.
Yeah,
He's Draco.
Draco would be more clever. Yeah,
You know what I mean? You were talking about inauthentic and show business.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's not an argument you're going to win.
Most of show business isn't authentic.
Well,
of course.
but that's the
I'm
whole
not saying
point.
that
of show
Drake
I'm
business.
more, yeah, like his origin is very inauthentic. That's for sure.
Yeah,
But that's
I'm
kind
not.
of awful,
To be clear, I'm not saying that that Drake meant for it to be Swedish. That he decided Swedish is such a brilliant language. I'm going to take the Swedish word for dragon and go with that. It could be that he locked out and he screwed up something else. But yeah, all I'm just
He
saying is
didn't
that,
do his research and he got the pronunciation wrong.
And
No,
it's
it's
hurt his
right.
career enormously.
Not real. No. His family is very well to do. They're
Really?
like Taylor Swift's dad. They could have bought him an album for her to sign with. They would have.
Oh, so he's not from the hood.
No, he's from Richmond Hill.
Yo, that's where we
Yeah.
build Chrysler.
You'd be surprised how many of these rappers are actually not from the background they pretend they are.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Even Tupac came from a completely different background than you'd probably think. He came from mostly acting and dancing.
Wow.
Yeah. He tried to be an actor. He even took ballet and shit. Like he was like really heavy into like the dancing arts and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah. And like even Ice Cube didn't come from as bad of backgrounds as even the movies and stuff try to make it out to be. He was the one that was from the suburbs and shit. I'm not shitting you.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, an awful lot of musicians can't make it unless they have some kind of financial wherewithal behind them.
Yes, and I think you're right, Verse Please. I believe that's the school him and Jada Pinkett went to together, if I remember right.
And Juilliard is free, from what I understand.
I visited Juilliard. I've
Yeah,
never been
well,
able
like
to
her
find-
and him have like a history together. Yeah, or had a history.
Yeah,
They even
all
have her as
this,
a character in his shitty biopic they put together.
all this fakeosity in show business. I am completely shocked. I am utterly stone
You
faced.
should be.
I think I'm leaving. Pretty soon there'll be rumors about me being Hungarian.
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna say we come from too humble of backgrounds to be movie
We
stars. That's the
do.
problem.
Well, listen,
Two
here in
blue
Canada,
collar.
we've got in the academic world, we've got a ton of people that Drew Taylor called pretendians, white people who, for whatever reason that no one can figure out, decided that they had some kind of a First Nations heritage and got prestigious positions in universities that made these positions open only to people of indigenous backgrounds, and then they got found out to be like totally white.
Oh, I went to college with someone whose mom was that, and she would make fundraisers to go on various trips for a cause, but it was really just vacations.
And she was a pretendian.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those weird things.
Tipping Bar must be new here. He wonders if Chato is from a Canadian hood.
Yep. Don Mills, bitches. I'm from Don Mills. Drop the needle.
when he talks about syrup, it's like serious scissor.
Serious syrup. Yeah. I had Wilkett
100%.
100% Don Mills, the first designed community in the world. Even German filmmakers came by to our community to view and film, how this designed community worked. I was
maple
there.
scissor.
I will say though, it was multi-ethnic. I mean, we had, everybody there. It's quite
so like Maple is today.
Maple, Ontario.
Yeah,
I have not been to Maple, Ontario in a while.
Oh, okay.
Fatty, straight out of Don Mills.
Straight out of Don Mills. That's right.
I'm white as white can be.
That's right.
You ain't never seen a cracker like me.
I lived in the Tomonaco Apartments, 1055 Don Mills Road, bitches. Yeah. Right across from the Don Way.
Yeah. But with that, let us continue back to Shazam.
Andre's
that's
not
where
impressed.
We stopped it.
Yes, but Andre, what did you think of the Shazam trailer?
Well, it was boring as shit.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Is that all you have to say?
Well, I can elaborate on it. Like the short version is, I thought it was boring as shit. So that's a summary. The longer version, I never really liked the first Shazam. I thought it was, it just wasn't for me. There was like something tonally about it that I didn't like. I've never been into the Shazam character. I thought the Billy Barty's adult version in Shazam was like so overblown and like so over the top, with an adult actor overacting to pretend to be like a 12-year-old or something like that. So yeah, just the whole movie I thought was like stupid. So I was disposed against liking this one to begin with because I didn't like the first. And then on top of that, now we know that this movie has no future. It's a dead end. And I was kind of like thinking about it that, well, most original movies are creative dead ends because they're standalone and there's no franchise in the wing waiting behind them. But we have now been conditioned for going on 2 decades to always be excited for not just the movie coming, but the movie after that, and the movie after that, and the movie after that, and the event after that. And that's something ironic in a sense, because now we still have a number of DC movies coming out that we all should at this point consider to be standalone movies and treat them as that, because there's nothing coming after them. I mean, we don't know exactly what James Gunn is planning, but chances are they're all creative dead ends. Like there's no future to the cast, to the story. It all ends after the next movie. So normally, like for instance, you have like the Dracula movie with Nicolas Cage. I can't wait for that. But there's no sequel in the wings for that. Still can't wait. But with
that
this
looks
one,
good.
I find that because it's a creative dead end and there's nothing coming after, I don't care. It's kind of like getting invested into a series that's already cancelled on a cliffhanger. Like, why get into it in the first place?
So is it Gunn? Did Gunn dead end it?
Yeah, kind of,
Okay.
because they were planning on proceeding with this universe, this cast, and then Gunn came in and he dead ended it. So for me, those are like 2 reasons to not be excited. One, I don't care about this movie because I didn't like the first one, and seeing this trailer, I kind of look forward to Helen Mirren. But beyond that, like, I didn't like the music, didn't like the too expressive colors. I did kind of like find it interesting to see how the Shazam uniform changed over the course of the movie. How it's like getting like this black goo over it. Kind of like we saw in Black Adam. So I was like thinking, oh, okay, here's a Black Adam link. Well, too bad that's not going to be followed up on in any future movies, whether it be Shazam or Black Adam. So again, another reason why I don't care. So, and right now, like, I saw the trailer when it came out. I saw it again just before the show. I honestly couldn't tell you what happened in it because it was
But
just like
it's okay, generic superhero though. It
yeah,
can be fun.
that's it. It's so generic.
Yeah.
It's so generic and so safe and so
Yep. I agree with you.
bland. Just like it's colorful, but so incredibly
Yeah, but
bland.
you're dead inside, Andre. I mean,
Well,
I'm not
so must
dead
be
inside
Peter.
for the Dracula movie. I'm not in. I wasn't dead inside
Again,
for Black Adam. I loved Black Adam.
now we'll get back to Dracula in a few minutes, but go
I
ahead,
think
Paul.
we have a stakes issue again. That if the first Shazam was a small movie exploring his powers, and all he's doing is dealing with the criminal elements in the city, and don't amp it up to the undead and all that stuff, it makes it for a much more fun, small movie. And then at least you've got some place to go to that's notched up just a little bit. But this is notched way higher in terms of compared to the first movie, and that just gets tiresome. It's just unbelievably, and part of the challenge too is that there's no really good bad guys out there. Perhaps the best bad guy out there is Overlander from The Boys.
Oh, Homelander. Yeah, yeah.
Homelander, maybe one of the best baddies next to not Trask, the guy on the Marvel movie with the guy who fights who's blind, Daredevil.
Daredevil, yeah.
This is what happens when you turn 68. It's like you completely lose.
Well,
it.
I mean, it's not really so much
Fisk.
Yeah, Wilson Fisk. You again, a good bad guy makes it great, but this wasn't killed solely by gun. Peter Safran's the producer who's shepherded the Shazam movies, so it's his baby too that he's put an axe on. So, I mean, that's that should tell you the fate of the next of the DC stuff. But Paul's not wrong. Is that whenever a sequel is pitched, it's always supposed to be bigger and better. The problem is that they take that bigger aspect far too literally, to the point where they mean, oh, we need more of this. Well, no, bigger technically means stakes, some more personal stakes with regards to characters and what they're being faced off. It doesn't mean we have to destroy half of a city in order for that to be quote unquote bigger. Seems that they're kind of doing a little bit of that in this trailer, which again, it's very special effects heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea that, like, the part of the stakes that I picked up on that I think is interesting is the fact that his family who have the shared powers of Shazam are losing them. They're being stolen by these gods, these lady gods. So and what is their reason for stealing it, aside from the fact that they don't think he and the family deserves the power? Or is it something
because they stole it from their father years ago or whatever it was? Yeah. So I think that's said in the trailer.
Yeah, that's the point of it.
Because they're sisters, and that's the whole thing. Yeah.
But also, it's the question is being like, if they get their power back, what are they going to do with it? Like, that's the I wanna know.
laugh that evil laugh.
They're going to take out the patriarchy.
That
well, I mean, the first film to me, as I've said many a time, and I'm not the only one, that is the best Marvel movie that DC ever made. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than a lot of people did. This one, I wasn't looking so much forward to it. This trailer sold me a little bit more than the last one, but I think Script's right in that it gives away probably too much of the plot. We could be wrong, but I think he and others are probably spot on. We seemingly get most of the major beats, it seems like, here's to where the movie's going. Like Script said, they clearly have a way of taking away the power, or taking the powers back, which is the whole kind of point of why they're there. And to what end, we don't know. That's about the only thing the trailer didn't give us, other than, they supposedly, the gods stole the power from their father or whatever was the whole point. And Billy is not the one who's supposed to get them, or whatever, according to them. And then you have the whole battle between him and the god that gave him the power to begin with, saying that he isn't deserving of it or whatever. So, like, there's that whole thing. So it's kind of a typical second film run of, is the superhero even deserving of it, or are they really even ready for said responsibility? We've seen it a million times over, the way back to...
And he manages to steal that staff thing with the blue glowing top, Huji.
Well, that or he gets that given to him by the other god, I think. Or I think that god will get killed by.
I thought that was
Helen
Helen
Mirren.
Mirren's staff that he.
It might be. I don't know. I can't remember.
He's just putting some batteries in it.
He's
Probably.
dragging to fight for most of the movie, it looks like.
But like Andre's right. Like the outside of the film itself having no stakes, it has no stakes in the real world because it could be one of the biggest successes in the world, and unless it is one of those big $1 billion hits, I don't see this being. Why? Who cares?
But after a glut of lousy superhero movies, there's been a fairly large gap, and this might succeed just because
it might, but
kind of colorful.
It just seems a bit heavier than the first film, and even the tone seems a bit darker than I would expect, which is not a bad thing sometimes, but that was one thing to me that I did enjoy about the first film, as much of a quote-unquote Marvel movie as it was. It was just a fun movie. And I remembered the show from when I was a kid, and I know they had changed some things and amalgamized a few versions of the character. But for what it was, I was okay. My biggest problem with it is what Script and others have pointed out, and that was what's-his-face when he was an adult playing Billy, Shazam. He had the Tom Hanks and Big issue, and that is that he was acting less mature than the kid actor was when he wasn't. And then, as Clobby pointed out last night, that change in the character never made sense, because otherwise, why does he need the wisdom then? Like, because he's not really acting very smart. It's kind of dumb.
He's ignoring the wisdom, yeah. Not
why ignoring it. Why isn't he?
100% needs it, but
he needs it. Why isn't he using it? Yes, exactly. Is my point. Yeah. Because actually, like, that's the thing. It doesn't make sense to me. Is why is he still a kid when he's Shazam?
He should be.
No, there's the reconciliation. He has the purity of a child, but he has the wisdom of an adult. Like, that's the balance. The problem is that in some of the stuff that Clobby was mentioning last night, he's written as a kid, only as a kid. He doesn't have the purity of innocence of a child within the adult form of Captain Marvel, which is what is more traditionally the case.
Oh, we're arguing over a comic book movie.
Yeah, but it's true. But with that, we'll see. I don't think it's going to be the big superhero movie of the year. I don't think, because the first movie didn't do all that great. In fact, I think it did less than Ant-Man, if I remember right, which was one of the lower end Marvel films. So
I thought Ant-Man did okay.
Ant-Man did better. That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ant-Man did around 400 plus, and then
so this is 366 million.
Yeah.
For Shazam.
Yeah, I was going to say it was under 4.
Yeah. Again, its cost would have been high, wouldn't it?
The first one I think was in the 120 range, which is the same as this one. Which is funny because it looks like they spent more money on this one, but looking it up, I think they're very close in their budget.
No, the budget for Shazam the first one was 100 million. They made no money on this.
Nope.
Yeah.
On the first one.
So what I mean, they're similar ranges. So that's the thing, is you can't make one of these superhero movies for under 100 to 120 million dollars. That's kind of the bottom line. We learned that in a few different cases now. So
with the types of stories they're telling, you can't do it for
exactly, like, unless you're talking about something that's lower level. Like, that's the thing, is even Batman shouldn't have cost 200 million to make. Right? Batman is a character that you don't need all the CGI shit for. It's not a Superman.
That is true. It's all the little gears and his little knifey things.
Well, and the reason why, like, something like Endgame cost so much is only 100 was probably spent on the movie proper. The other 200 million was spent on the actors.
True. That was very expensive from an acting perspective, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you've got Paul Rudd making $8 million, I think what's her face made the same amount. Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, whatever. Well, I'm sure Evangeline Lilly probably got the same amount too. You're probably right, because they'd have to be fair across the board.
They amount for, on average, I think between 6 and 12 minutes of screen time in that 3-hour epic. So that's a pretty good.
Because I think they figured that what was it? Paul Rudd got paid like $1 million per minute on a screen time for that movie or something was, or maybe not quite $1 million, but like But Brie Larson got a pretty big payday. Of course, Robert Downey Jr. got the biggest one. Wasn't his in the $15 million or $20 million range for that or something like that? I can't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh wait, RPR saying that he got 50. I didn't know if it was that much, but it could have been.
Yeah, I remember hearing 50.
It could have been, yeah. So yeah, that's the biggest problem with some of these budgets, at least with some of these, and that's what Zaslav is trying to do, and that's where I think Henry Cavill and some of these other actors are not going to continue, is because they're going to cost too much. And he's going to be like, get actors in there that are not going to charge a fortune.
Yeah, because that's a problem with like many movie sequels. Eventually, the cast is what makes them unfeasible. One go-to example there is actually the much maligned and will never happen despite 50 announcements Star Trek 4
A
with
great
Chris
example.
Hemsworth again and Chris Pine. Because those movies, they were like budgeted and floated as big budget blockbusters from the moment that J.J. Abrams got involved with Bad Robot to reboot it for the big screen. It all got a big bluster treatment. But lo and behold, a couple of movies down the line, they performed with audiences pretty much exactly like the Star Trek movies of the 80s and 90s, only they cost 10 times as much to make. So the problem was the price. And when they've had like a script and everything that addressed that, then it was too late. It didn't help because the cast were already locked in for contracts where where the movie would cost more than it ever could cost before even a frame of footage was filmed in cast salaries alone, and they wouldn't budge and cut their rates. And lo and behold, no Star Trek 4.
Yeah, everybody who wasn't Zachary Quinto wouldn't budge.
Yeah. And you know what? We are maybe about less than 4 weeks away from another trade article about Star Trek 4.
Yep.
So.
We got to get
I
that
think we
video
better prepare
re-edited.
our generic video about this week Star Trek 4, insert name here.
Director left.
Yeah.
And they made a new announcement for insert director here.
Yeah.